All right, I'm gonna be honest. I have tried to do this video like 3 times live, and everyone keeps saying that they cannot hear anything or whatever else they're saying. So I'm just gonna do it like this, and then I'll post it as a video long form. I feel like is better for this in particular because it's about carbohydrates. And what prompted me to do this video is actually the fact that I learned, I don't even know how many years ago now, probably 7 or 10 years ago, I learned that my body in particular is more sensitive to fat, which means that I do not eat as much fat as I can eat of carbohydrates. How do I know that? I did a quick study with my coach at the time, and he said, okay, here's what we're gonna do. Before your workout, we're gonna do 1 serving of MCT oil in your pre-workout protein shake, and then you're gonna have a regular blueberry muffin from Dunkin' Donuts, okay? So I'm like not mad about this at all. There was Dunkin' Donuts literally right next to my gym. So for 1 week, every morning, I had a protein shake with MCT oil in it, and then I had my regular sugar-coated blueberry muffin. It was glorious. It was my favorite thing. I loved it. For 1 week, I weighed myself before, we did a skin caliper test, and then a week after I weighed myself and we did a skin caliper test. It went up quite a bit actually in 1 week. And that was the only thing I changed. Everything else that I was eating was exactly the same. So the second week, we pulled out the MCT oil of the first, of my pre-workout and switched to a low-fat blueberry muffin. Still had the sugar on top, but it was a low-fat blueberry muffin, also from Dunkin' Donuts, because it was right by the gym. Weighed myself then, and then weighed myself a week later. And also we did the caliper test again, the skin fold test. It was down significantly. So now that I know I am fat sensitive, that my body responds much better to carbs, I will eat way more carbs and I keep my fats to a minimum. Why am I sharing this? Because I feel like women across the board, especially like 30 to 60, maybe even like probably more like 40 to 60, are a little bit nervous to eat carbs because they think they're gonna get fat. But here's the deal. Carbs don't make you fat. Fat doesn't make you fat unless you have a sensitivity to them. So you can use this test to see, but you have to keep everything else in your life exactly the same. Or you can just kind of start paying attention. But if you are a woman and you are cutting out an entire macronutrient group from your daily, day-to-day eating habits, for instance, if you're nervous about carbs, so you're keeping a super low carb diet, it is not doing you any good. 1, because it's an entire macronutrient group, and there are only 3 of them: carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. They are what keep your hormones happy and healthy, okay? Carbohydrates, proteins, and fats are what keep your hormones healthy. So everyone wants to blame hormones for their weight gain, their weight loss, whatever it is, and maybe it is the hormones, but it's really the food because your food affects your hormones. So if you take something out, like carbohydrates, that's hold on, let me grab my puppy. Come here. You gotta tell them, Choo Choo. He's very, very needs attention a lot. It's probably part of my fault. But anytime you cut something out, then it's gonna throw your hormones off. So if you're not eating enough carbohydrates, then your body's like, okay, well, our hormones are off, and so now your hormones, and now you can blame your hormones, but it's really because of the food. What caused the hormones? Potentially could be the food. So I'm sharing this again because a lot of women are nervous about the carbs, so they're eating a higher fat diet. The higher fat diet might be the culprit. Okay, so if you're eating cheese at every meal because it's easy to grab and you think that's a protein, cheese has protein, but it's a fat. Peanut butter also has protein, but it's a fat. So if you are eating these types of foods in plentiful without paying attention to how much you're eating, and you are fat sensitive, you are going to be heavier and feel more than if you were just eating more carbs and less of those fats. So I hope this is helpful. If you have questions, please drop them below. My human design does so good with responding to people's questions. I have so much information up here that I am not always the best at initiating the share of it. So if you have questions, please ask them. I am a wealth of knowledge and I want to share this information with you. I want you to be able to make better, healthier choices for you. I want you to feel better about yourself. I want you to be healthier in every single way, mind, body, and soul. Puppies help. But learning a little bit more about macronutrients, and it doesn't mean that you always have to be tracking your food, but what's tracked can be measured. And in the beginning, learning how to track macros is grueling. It was slowing me down. Food prep was slowing me down. Maybe took me 2 hours on a Sunday and Wednesday because I food prep twice a week, and I still food prep twice a week. Why? Because when you plan, then you will not fail. But when you fail to plan, then you're failing, right? And that's just a horrible feeling when you're trying to make strides in something. So don't be afraid of carbohydrates. Maybe do the little test to see if you're fat sensitive or carb sensitive, and then drop any questions you have below. I am here to help. Big love.